Well, we will learn chapter Life Processes of Class 10. We will be continuing the chapter, and today we'll be learning about respiration. So, if you're here to learn something new, I want you all to like, share, and subscribe to the channel because that is what motivates us to do much better for you all. So, without any further delay, let's get started. Respiration. Many times we think respiration is just breathing, that means taking in oxygen out carbon dioxide. Well, is it actually like that? The answer is no. Respiration is not breathing, but breathing is a part of respiration. Okay? Just like in nutrition, eating food inside your mouth, taking the food inside your mouth is a part of nutrition. Same way, breathing is also a part of respiration. Respiration, on the other hand, means the breakdown of glucose into, the glucose is broken down and energy is released in our body. Okay. So, breakdown of glucose, if you don't remember where is it coming from, I want you all to recall nutrition. We learned in the small intestine, when complete digestion is taking place, we learned that protein is broken down into simple molecules, that is amino acids. And fat is broken down into fatty acids or glycerol. And carbohydrate is broken down into glucose. So that glucose has to be further broken down. And how does it break down? It breaks down with the help of respiration. Okay, I hope that much is clear to you. And when it is broken down, it releases energy. And that energy is stored in the form of ATP. Now, okay, you understood that, okay, it releases energy, but what is ATP, right? It is stored in the form of ATP, I told you. So, what is ATP? See, just like we measure money with the help of rupees or dollars, right? Same way, just think ATP as a currency of energy. Okay? We will learn about it in detail after some time, but for now, you just think it like that. So let me make you write down the definition. First of all, you all know that we breathe in oxygen, right? Through our nose. And that travels inside our nose, goes down to the lungs, right? And then exchange of gases is done, and then it is sent to the blood vessels, it is purified, and it whatever is not required, whatever is unhealthy for our body, that is carbon dioxide, that comes here again to the lungs, and that is thrown out as carbon dioxide, right? That is breathing. But breakdown of glucose, and in that process the release of energy that is stored as ATP, that is respiration. So please remember that breathing is a part of respiration and don't confuse it with respiration. Okay, let me make you write down whatever I've told you. Respiration, is a process where glucose is broken down. And when it is broken down, it releases energy. That is stored in the form of ATP. What is ATP? It is adenosine triphosphate. That means 3 phosphate together makes triphosphate. Okay. Okay. Now, I told you the key word here is glucose, the breaking down of glucose. Okay. So, what is glucose? We all know that glucose is C6H12O6. Right? So, glucose has how many carbon molecules. How many molecules of carbon does it have? 6 carbon molecules. So these 6 carbon molecules break down to form 3 carbon molecule each. 3 plus 3 is 6, right? So one glucose will form 3 carbon molecules, okay? And this 3 carbon molecule is called pyruvate. What is it called? Pyruvate. And this process happens in the cytoplasm. Where does it happen? In the cytoplasm. Now see, further what happens? Further this pyruvate is broken down in presence of oxygen or absence of oxygen. Okay? If it further breaks down, the pyruvate, that is the 3 carbon molecules, further breaks down in presence of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. And if it breaks down in the absence of oxygen, then it is called anaerobic respiration. We will learn about both of them through the help of a diagram. Let's look at it. Now, like I told you that there are 2 types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic means that includes oxygen, and anaerobic means that does not include oxygen. I'll make you write it down later. But now let's look at this diagram and understand it way much better. See, glucose that I told you is a 6 carbon chain is broken down in the cytoplasm into 3 carbon chain. That means the C6 is broken down into C3 and C3. Okay. That means 3 carbon molecule. That is known as pyruvate. And with that, energy is also released. In this process, energy is also released. Now, further breakdown of pyruvate, that is the 3 carbon molecule, is done. If it is done in the presence of oxygen, it is done in the mitochondria. Suppose in our body, it is done in the mitochondria. What is mitochondria? Everyone knows, powerhouse of the cell. Right? Everyone knows this. There are so many memes also about this. So, in the presence of oxygen, in the mitochondria, it will break down further into carbon dioxide, water, and it will also release energy. Okay? So, in all these processes, energy will be released because that is the main motive. That is the main target. We need what? We need energy. We are doing all these processes to gain energy. Right? So, in presence of oxygen in the mitochondria, the pyruvate, that is 3 carbon molecule, will break down to give us carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This is called as aerobic respiration. Let's look at anaerobic respiration, that is in the absence of oxygen. Again, the 6 carbon molecule, that is glucose, in cytoplasm, it will break down into pyruvate, that is 3 carbon molecule, and it will also release oxygen. Now, in the absence of oxygen, what will it do? It will further break down and give ethanol, that is a 2 carbon molecule. Okay? And carbon dioxide, CO2, and energy. See, meth means 1, F means 2. But means 4, pent means 5, like that. Okay. So there is ethanol, that means 2 carbon molecule. Okay. Nol is usually added for alcohol, but here you don't need to keep those things in mind. You just need to keep your in your mind that the 3 carbon molecule here is broken down into 2 carbon molecule, and it also releases carbon dioxide and energy is also released. Okay. And this is the anaerobic respiration. Let's go to the third one. So this third one that we see, lack of oxygen that we are seeing here, this is done when suppose you are running, okay? You're running. What happens in your body? Your body is not able to produce enough oxygen, okay? your body is not able to produce enough oxygen because you're running, so much of energy is required. So in that time, what happens? If there is a lack of oxygen, first of all, in our body, we know glucose is broken down into 3 carbon molecule, which is called pyruvate in the cytoplasm. Now, because of lack of oxygen in our muscle cells, okay, because we run and all with the help of our muscles, right? Here our muscles are included, right? So if there is not enough oxygen present, then this pyruvate, this carbon molecule will break down into lactic acid, that is also a carbon molecule, and will give us energy. Because of this lactic acid that is produced, we often deal with cramps. Oh, this is paining. I'm having a cramp in my muscle. I'm having a cramp in my legs because I ran too much or because I danced too much, right? So why does this painful cramp occur? It is because of this lactic acid which has been produced in our muscles. Okay. So this is how 3 types of reactions we have seen: in the presence of oxygen, in the absence of oxygen, and when there is not enough oxygen present. Also, this is the process of fermentation. Okay, and it is done in yeast. Okay, yeast and all, they ferment, right? They help in fermentation, right? So this happens when there is fermentation process going on. Okay, even idli and all you eat, no, that is made with the help of the fermented rice, whole, whatever they get, no, that is because of the fermented one. Okay, so please remember that this is the fermentation process. Let's go further. Types of respiration, okay? So what are the types of respiration? Aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic and anaerobic. Let me make you write down the definition of both of them, okay? This respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen. I'm making you write down in short. This respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. Okay. Also, one important thing that you need to remember is that the energy that is released through aerobic respiration, that means the respiration that is done in the presence of oxygen, is very much higher than anaerobic respiration, because in anaerobic respiration, oxygen is not being used, so the energy release is not as much compared to that of aerobic respiration. So the energy released due to the process of aerobic respiration is much greater than anaerobic respiration. Okay, now see, one thing that I want you all to remember is that those organisms that live in water, that means the aquatic animals, okay, the animals, the fishes and all that live in water, they they have to respire very quickly. The rate of respiration is very much higher. Why? Because they are not taking oxygen directly, right? What is happening here? The fishes are in water, right? Yellow fish, but this is a fish. Just don't mind my. It is in water. So how does it absorb what oxygen? How does it take in oxygen? It takes in oxygen through the water only. The oxygen that is dissolved in the water, right? It will take that oxygen. Okay, the water will flow inside its body. Okay, through its gills. It helps. The gills help in breathing, right? So the water enters their body, and through that the oxygen is filtered, and the carbon dioxide or whatever is not required, that is removed from the body. So the rate of respiration in aquatic animals is much more higher than that of terrestrial animals, because they do not get direct supply of oxygen. Now see, this you understood, right? So let's write down rate of respiration for aquatic animals are much, or is much, higher than that of terrestrial animals. Why? Because they take in oxygen indirectly through the water that is dissolved in, through the oxygen that is dissolved in water, they take in oxygen. They have to filter it. So the rate of respiration in um, living inside the water is much more higher than us or animals. Okay, because animals also take directly oxygen, and the way we process it, they also carry out the same processes. But for aquatic animals, it's much more difficult because they have to filter the water and capture the oxygen and then release the water, whatever carbon dioxide with it, with the water that is going out of their bodies. Okay. Now see, I told you about ATP, right? So ATP, I told you that it is energy currency, or it is the currency of energy for us. Okay. So let's write it down. Because the energy is stored in the form of ATP. Okay, then ATP will be broken down and then energy will be used. Okay, in our body. So I hope that much is very clear to you. Now we can go to the next topic, that is respiration in animals. Now see, for plants, it is little different. Okay, the thing is, the plants, they respire through all of their body parts almost. Like they respire through their roots, they respire through their leaves, they respire through their stems. Okay, so they respire through all these parts. Okay, because all these parts need energy. To individually meet their needs, they respire from all these parts. Okay, that means plants respire through all parts. You must think, how does it respire through roots? There are holes in the soil, not through that only oxygen or whatever the gases are, they enter, and that's how root absorbs it. Okay, root, stems, leaves, etc. Okay, to meet their needs. Now see, do you know what is diffusion? In diffusion, the gases move from higher concentration to lower concentration. Suppose, but see, don't go very much detail in that for now. For this chapter, you just need to remember that plants, they take in oxygen or take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, or vice versa, through the leaves, right? So this process of taking in carbon dioxide, giving out oxygen, occurs through the process of diffusion, with the help of diffusion. Okay, so diffusion means, like, whenever it needs carbon dioxide, whenever it feels that it does not have carbon dioxide, it will take it. Whenever it has to give oxygen, when it has produced oxygen, it has too much of oxygen, it will release it. So this is done with the help of diffusion. You just need to remember that. Now see, in the morning what happened? Photosynthesis occurs only in the time when there is sunlight, or it occurs only in daytime, right? But respiration takes place throughout the day, unlike photosynthesis. So what happens in the morning? What happens that the leaves, they absorb carbon dioxide for using it, right? They take in carbon dioxide, give out oxygen. But at night, that does not happen. They do not, take in carbon dioxide anymore. They release carbon dioxide. They take in oxygen at night. Okay. So that's how respiration occurs in the plants at night. So I hope with that the respiration in plants is clear to you. You just need to remember what happens in day and what happens at night. In day, what happens? It uses carbon dioxide, it takes in carbon dioxide. But at night, it does not take in carbon dioxide, it releases carbon dioxide. Okay? And in the morning, it gives oxygen. Release of oxygen is taken place. But at night, that does not happen. And with this, we are done with respiration in plants. We will go to the next topic now. But all the terrestrial animals, they breathe, or they respire through different organs, okay? And they have different types of organs for respiration or for breathing. And they have different structures, different organs, different type of structures of their organs, okay? But all of them have one thing in common, is that whenever there is oxygen rich atmosphere, that means oxygen is being taken in, the surface area of the organ expands, it becomes bigger, okay? And when it is given out, it again becomes normal. But when oxygen is taken in, what happens is it becomes oxygen rich atmosphere, right? So the surface area of the organs, they expand. All these organs are very delicate. They are very soft. Okay. They are very soft and they are very fine. So they are placed inside the body in such a way that, no harm is gained to them. Just like, see, we have a rib cage here, and then there is lungs, right? It is protected by the rib cage. Yes or no? The heart, the lungs, it is protected by the rib cage. So, because these organs are very delicate and soft, especially in animals. Now, see, we will just have an overlook first of all. Okay. First, the air enters through our nose. And when it enters through our nasal passage, when it enters through our nose, what happens is, inside you can see there are hair-like structures. There are tiny hair, right? Oh, I'm sorry for the bad handwriting. When the air enters our nose, where does air enter? It enters the nose. When it enters the nose, there are nostrils present. What are there present? Nostrils are present, okay? Now, what do these nostrils that are hair-like structure help in? Do you think they have any use, or are they just present there? Do you think the hair-like structure, the tiny hair-like structure which we don't even think about, do they have any function, or they are just present there? So they also have a function. Okay, the nostrils, what do they do? When the air enters your nose, if there is any particle, there is any dust particle or anything harmful that shouldn't enter your body, it will filter it. What will it do? It will filter the air. Okay, and then it will capture whatever shouldn't enter your body. And they trap whatever particles that shouldn't enter your body. Okay. Then what happens is, remember this nasal passage, right? It has a lining of mucus. Just like the stomach, this also has a lining of mucus, the nasal passage. Okay. And this passage is lined up with mucus and it helps in this process. Okay. Now see, after it goes through your nose, where will it enter? It will pass through your throat, right? From the throat, it will pass through your trachea. Trachea is also the windpipe. Okay, it will pass through your trachea or the windpipe, and then it will enter your lungs. Where will it enter? Your lungs. And remember, lung is protected by the ribs. This ring-like structures, these are the ribs. Okay. Now, when it enters your lungs, it will go into the alveoli. Okay. Can you see here? This is the structure of alveoli. It will go through your alveoli, and then what will happen? If there is any, carbon dioxide or whatever the body has collected, that will be passed here for its exchange, and that will be taken out. And whatever the oxygen it has carried, it will now go to your body part if it is oxygenated blood. Okay. And if it is carbon dioxide, it will be the blood vessels will bring it to the lung and it will deposit here, and then this lung will carry out the carbon dioxide. I hope this is clear to you. Now see, just like we saw in terrestrial animals, the organs that help in respiration, they are protected, right? Same way here also, these rings of cartilage that you see, they help in, they help to protect the air passage from collapsing. Otherwise, what will happen if these rings of cartilage are not there? The air passage will collapse. Okay, here you can see the nasal passage and the air wherever it travels, those part will collapse if the ring of cartilage is not present. So as we from the nose it enters, and the nostrils will filter the air, and there is a lining of mucus in this passage, and then it will enter the throat, right? Through the trachea, it will enter, that is windpipe. Through the windpipe, the air will enter. Now, what happens is that there are some tubes. There are small tubes, okay, which are called as bronchi and bronchialis, okay. So you see, this is the bronchi. Can you see it? It's given in the diagram, okay. Okay, and these small ones are the bronchioles. Okay, so the lungs, it has smaller tubes. It is divided into tubes. Okay, the tubes get smaller. Okay, so the air enters through these tubes. Okay, and it finally reaches to the alveoli, which is a balloon-like structure. Okay, it looks like a balloon, so it is a balloon-like structure. And this alveoli, what happens? It helps in providing a surface area for the exchange of gases. Please note down this point. Provides surface area for the exchange of gases. Here what happens when the oxygen is sent here? Okay, what will happen is that the blood vessels, the alveolar blood vessels, those will carry this oxygen and it will be transferred through these vessels to all the parts of our body so that we gain energy. Okay. But throughout the body, all waste, that is carbon dioxide, the blood vessels will collect that and they will bring it in this part only, in the alveoli only. And what will happen when they bring it here? This alveoli will help in carrying out this carbon dioxide through the trachea again outside the body. So what will happen first? The air will enter through the nose. Okay. Where will it enter first? It will enter through the nose. Then it will go to the pharynx, larynx. Okay. Here. Pharynx. This is the part pharynx. Then it will go to the larynx. This part. Then it will go to the bronchi. Through the windpipe, it will go to the bronchi. Then it will go to the bronchioles. And then it will go to the lungs. Okay, to the alveoli, where the exchange of gases will take place. I hope this much is clear to you and you don't have any doubt in this. I didn't write trachea here, right? Let me just write down trachea. First, it will enter through the nose. I want you to please pay attention to this diagram because it is very important. If you remember this diagram, then you'll be able to remember the whole process. First, it will enter the nose, where you'll find the nostrils. Then it will enter inside, and then it will enter to the pharynx, then to the larynx, then to the trachea, then to the bronchi. This is the bronchi. Then again, from bronchi to bronchioles, and then to the alveoli in the lungs. So from nose, it goes to the pharynx, larynx, trachea. Trachea is the windpipe, don't forget this. Bronchi, bronchioles, and then to the alveoli in the lungs. Now see, alveoli, right, it contains a large number of blood vessels in it, okay? That is why, when the oxygen is entered to the alveoli, what happens is that the alveolar blood vessels, they carry these oxygen to all the parts of the body. And from all the parts of the body, the carbon dioxide is collected and brought here, and this is thrown out of the body. Always remember, when we take in oxygen, what happens is that when we take oxygen, the cavity, our chest cavity, it expands. Okay? Our chest cavity, it expands, and we throw it out, it becomes normal. Remember that. Okay? So I think with this, at least the respiration in human beings, how it is taken place, you all have understood. Please remember the function of alveoli because that is really, really important. Let me just give you a recap now. First, the air will enter through the nose, and there are nostrils that will filter out the air. Then what will happen is that it will enter inside the nasal passage. It will go inside the pharynx, larynx, and in the windpipe. Remember, there are rings of cartilage present which help to protect the air passage from collapsing or being destroyed. From there, what will happen? The air will enter small tubes, okay? And then it will reach to a balloon-like structure, that is alveoli. There, the exchange of gases happen. It provides a surface area for the exchange of gases to occur. It is filled with blood vessels. Now, the oxygenated blood will be left there, and from there, the alveolar blood vessels will carry that oxygenated blood throughout the body parts. And all the carbon dioxide from our body will be brought to this alveoli, and from here only it will be removed from our body. That's how respiration takes place, okay? That's how respiration takes place. I'm sorry for the glitch. Now see, I will, because this is little confusing, I'll give you a recap and also make you write down some important things, okay? Firstly, just listen to me. First, the air enters through the nose, okay? There, what do you find? You find nostrils. What do these nostrils do? They filter the air. If there is any particle that shouldn't enter your body, it will not allow the waste particle to enter. Then what will happen? It will pass through your nasal passage here down and it will go to the pharynx. Okay, it will pass through the pharynx. Then after pharynx, what is the larynx? It will go to the larynx. Now it will go to the trachea. Also remember, rings of cartilage, they protect the air passage from collapsing or from being destroyed. Okay. So then it will enter your trachea, or that is also called as windpipe. Once it enters your windpipe, what happens is it will enter the bronchi, then bronchioles. That means small tubes. It will enter through the small tubes in your body. First to the bronchi, this one, right? And then to the smaller tube, this one. Okay. First it will enter through the bronchi, and then it will enter through the bronchioles. Then it will go to the balloon-like structure called alveoli, where exchange of gases take place. Bronchi, bronchioles. See, in your chapters, the name bronchi and bronchioles is not given. Bronchioles, okay, it's not given. So it's just written that small tubes. Okay, it will pass through small and smaller tubes, and then it will reach alveoli. Alveoli, I've already made you write down that it provides surface area for exchange of gases. What happens is oxygen that is left in the alveoli will be transferred to all parts of the body through the alveolar blood vessels. These blood vessels will carry the oxygen throughout the body. Throughout the body parts, okay? Everywhere these blood vessels will carry the oxygen. From your body, whatever carbon dioxide has been collected by the blood vessels, it will bring it to the alveoli. There it will be thrown out of your nose, thrown out of the lungs, thrown out of from your nose, right? And that is giving out carbon dioxide. So that is how respiration in humans occur. And this is a very important part. I hope you understood everything that I've told you. If you have any doubt, anything that you did not understand, you can drop it down in the comment section below, and I will be answering all your questions, okay? Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe, as we will be meeting again in the upcoming video, and there I'll be teaching you about transportation and doing some multiple choice questions and previous year questions, so that from now you will have a good practice, and in your exams you'll be able to do excellent. Once again, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.